It's been said throughout the dawn of time that some disputes can only be solved with fists. After many...
That snipe was hard. That snipe was hard. Snipehardt.
Yo, Snipehardt, where the is Brawlogy?
Where's Brawlogy? Where is Brawlogy?
Yo, where's Brawlogy?
Snipe, where's Brawlogy, bro?
Where is Brawlogy?
Where is Brawlogy? The question the whole city is asking. Where is Brawlogy?
Many requests.
You serious?
Finally, a new day has dawned, and it's time for Onk to show you
The art of never ducking a fade.
It's crazy.
Knockdown range. Knockdown range. 1 gambit. Knockdown range. Knockdown. Oh my god!
I'm cold.
He's going through the portal here. Oh my god, I portal dunked him! I've never done that before!
And let it up.
Got it. After.
No. I just love you.
Dino lizard.
Hella backlining. We have no healers right now.
Oh wait, ready? Low key.
Burn it. It's dead, it's dead.
With these 5 tips, you can immediately improve at Brawl. Now, let's break down what defines a character as Brawl. Let's lock in. A Brawl character is a character who likes longer engagements, generally with an ability meant to extend the amount of uptime they can squeeze out of a character. A lot of them mostly shine in sustained damage rather than burst damage. Damage that keeps you low even if you're being sustained until a support either has to reload or the damage pushes the enemy front line over the edge. The greatest example of a Brawl character, in my opinion, would be none other than the Jolly Green Giant himself. No, not that guy. This guy. Okay, close enough. Hulk is looking to sneeze on a support, punch nerds in the face, and hit the double bubble back shot to cut their heals. Just like any other Brawl tank, he's looking to create a situational advantage and then occupy the space while that's happening. Let's go over a brief rundown of pros and cons to Brawl. Brawl pros are, can fight on the objective longer than the other compositions. They're designed to get in and stay in, can deal damage reliably through non-physical type shields like Strange and Mag. They're designed to touch you through that shield, you puny little magnet man. Thrives in close quarters. In an isolated matchup, this character should theoretically be winning a 1, provided it closed the gap and took minimal damage on the way in. This last one's a little bit debatable, but does best when grouped. This composition jumps people. It's just like Dive, except it doesn't run off afterwards. It stays to enjoy the afterglow of the moment. Whether that's a pro or a con, I'll leave that up to you guys. And the cons. Movement abilities usually have a condition to fill, an extra button press, or a long cooldown. A great example of this is Rogue. She has longer timers for her mobility, or she has to press a button more than once to get the full effect. Easily poked out if struggling to close the gap. If they're identifying that you're planning to walk at them, soon a great poke player will do about 40% of your health bar before you even arrive. This is easily the greatest weakness of Brawl, is that it doesn't have consistent range like poke or long-reaching movement abilities with no condition, like Dive. If playing spaced out does not play as well split. If you're ever playing split as a Brawl and you're getting poked out 1 by 1, you know exactly what I mean. And now I'm going to list some common complaints that I see amongst the Brawl community. You're barbecued. My team pushes too far. Okay, Susan, knowing that Brawl's main point is to deathball, why are you as a support watching your team walk onto the objective and you are still sitting in choke? It's your job to maintain sight lines at all times as a support, unless you're capping an objective or the upfight already has numbers in your favor. I see so many Brawl comps fail because some doodle bob decided to queue ranked as a support for the first time because it's so easy. Then, by not walking, they create dead space behind the fight and dive characters are able to win into a Brawl comp. If it's so easy, why are you so bad at it? I just love peeling, bro. Can we get a real tank? I swear I've said this before, but I'm still hearing this. Do you realize you just asked for a shield tank in the middle of a Brawl meta? Brother, I'm gonna chalk this super ignorant calm up to people just not being aware of how effective punch heroes are when they focus the shield heroes. No, not that guy. These three chuds. I ulted 6 people. Man, where is the follow-up? Maybe if you would stop solo pressing Q with no combo available in your ult economy, or at least let your team know you're going to ult and to keep an eye on you, you might just see 6 on screen that you lined up far more often, rather than ending up back in the spawn room at 0%. And this story is all too common and something you really hate to see. Do better. I create opportunities and no one kills them. I'm gonna start off by using Wolf as an example, so apply this to any Brawl hero. You do not need to immediately tackle on this character to get value. Try doing a little bit of damage and then tackling them into your team when they either use a mobility cooldown to pull away or they are heavily injured. The displacement is an insurance policy and a form of counterplay, not a requirement. Ah, man, I just can't do it. I gotta switch. Yo, are you only losing fights where the teams are ulting, but you're still winning neutral every time? Hello? Hello? With the global ult charge nerfs in place, ults are less frequent, but far more valuable now. Winning neutral only will still win you games where people are over ulting to get value. If they want to spend $60 on a fight that only costed 10, let them do it. My point is, you do not always have to switch if you're doing well in the neutral fights. If this wasn't the case, specialists wouldn't even exist on characters. Don't let the 6-to-1 metaphor go over your head. Okay, yes, we're looking at the triad again, and once again, it is important. So now you're probably left wondering, what is the most important role in Brawl? Every composition seems to have a role that it depends on the most. For dive, the tanks are actually the deciding factors in a few different ways. If your tank never makes it back to the supports after taking heavy damage diving the back lines, the support gets robbed of any of the ult charge that came with it. They also decide the positioning and time that the team decides to engage. There is no downtime once the fight starts for supports playing with or against dive. 0. If you want downtime, you get that after the fight is concluded, win or loss. For Poke, the DPS are the deciding factors. They're doing heavy burst damage to things to create opportunities for kills and are actively searching for enemy setups to poke at, never letting them close at full HP and touching them from anywhere on the map. I'm not saying tanks can't make a difference in this comp, but when the DPS are doing well, 9 out of 10 times so are the tanks and vice versa. Poke composition is entirely centered around whoever does the most damage from range, and those are always going to be your DPS. So with that being said, the most logical answer for Brawl leaning into its lengthy playstyle would be the role responsible for sustaining it and extending the fights even longer. Supports are looking to 1. Capitalize proactively on opportunities their bodyguards create, and 2. Sustain space while it's either being held or taken from the enemy team. Without supports inside of your Brawl comp that complement it, this task becomes one of the most difficult in the game without the star players that belong to the composition. DPS in this composition have considerably less power and are at the mercy of how much space the supports can allow while under pressure checks. See what I did there? Mercy. Similar to dive, there are 3 W's to get a W. What advantage do I need to create using my kit? When should I execute? Walk. Is it time to take space? What will hurt them the most? When we ask ourselves what, we need to be thinking about what the enemy composition is. I'm gonna make a weird analogy here, but it will make sense as I elaborate further. Picking out what we need to do to create an advantage during a walk is going to be like a game of Jenga. If you remove the correct brick, their tower will fall. You're looking to create domino effects here by either removing a player from play, whether you killed them or not, or debuffing a target to decrease the amount of pressure it can output while minimizing friendly casualties. This will depend on how passive or aggressive the enemy team is and what the main role of their comp is. That's how you locate the staple. Suddenly, telling you the most important roles to the comps is making sense now. You're starting to see the vision. Now let me cook. When should I execute? When is debatably the most important question in Brawl. You should always be on the lookout for things that want to dive or off angle. If you're tanking, for example, as soon as you split off from the group to take space and you leave room for the enemy DPS, or maybe even tanks are watching for that, to be able to touch your team uncontested. Every action in game has a reaction. Always look for them. Nothing looking to dive or off angle your team, send it. When is now. As a support, if nothing is touching you, you should always enable your tanks to apply as much pressure as possible. Games are lost and won by not maintaining equal or greater pressure. And we arrive at our third. Is it time to hard walk on them? This doesn't need a role-specific example because all parties involved in Brawl should know when it's time for the walk. Are my tanks ready to ult? We're hard walking to squeeze every ounce of pressure out of that Q press. There is no world where, oh, my teammate pressed Q, so I don't have to walk now. He's got that. That simply does not exist in this game. Are you up in numbers? Time to walk the advantage. This step isn't about when to approach the objective. It's about taking space from the enemy team. They can't pay the rent for the space they occupy, so we're forcefully removing them. In Brawl, you are a cranky landlord. You serve trespass notices to divers, and you evict the team occupying the space that you desire when the conditions are met, of course. The poke phase. There's not much damage for you to do here. If you are poking at the choke and waiting for an opportunity to push in with ult when you're already close, that's the only time I can think of where playing a poke phase in Brawl makes any sense at all. The thing about Brawl is because of its limitations from range, Thor excluded, it needs to actively seek out a way to close the gap without feeding the enemy team. We don't want to show Viz until we're close enough to fight, or we are trying to help build our support ults. We thrive at close quarters, so we want to always be in range to get value if it's within our control. No need to waste resources on the walk. So you've identified pathing that leads to the team fight that doesn't feed. Congratulations! Now it's time to close the gap. After we close the gap, we scout their supports so that we know where their LOS is to deny the tanks their precious resources and let our team know it's time to walk. The team fight is now active, and we're playing with our resources, looking to either take the initiative and getting a pick, or we're using cooldowns to enable another player to do it. Either way works fine. Smooth as butter, fast as lightning. Have you ever played a triple tank composition and absolutely rolled the first engagement? Well, that's mainly because triple tank has been a sleeper pick since Gambit's release. Brawl is probably the strongest form of triple tank and requires proper teamwork. You three should never play split, shoot the same targets to make up for the lack of damage, and always cycle cooldowns together to help each other survive. This composition does thrive on domination, but can be played on other styles of maps as well. At the time of making this video, My favorite composition is Gamma Gloves Dino. The amount of damage that can be taken and done with this comp is absurd, and if you play well together, I can't imagine an answer to this composition if you just ban Moon Knight, so he can't turbo farm ult every fight. This comp peels very well and also excels at providing forward pressure and momentum. Just like I said before, if there is nothing to peel, send it hard and fast. Another example outside of Brawl is Poke, Mag, Tank Pool, Thor. If these three are hitting every shot on the same target, it's hard to imagine a character living through that with any amount of healing. Poke is in fact a very mechanically dependent comp, so if you struggle with triple poke tank, I won't fault you here. You can't teach mechanics as a coach. Those are something the player has to go and form themselves through practice, drive, and dedication. You can provide a guiding hand, but you cannot force the horse to drink. The cycling of cooldowns to reinforce your fellow players still applies regardless of what comp you desire to triple with. Dive, poke, brawl, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you're doing has to be done together to make up for the lack of consistent solo play damage. The higher skill sets to have in this composition are good comms, collective target priority, and the highest skill set in my opinion is understanding push-pull or the wave. If you never know when to walk, you will never be able to exploit the team-wide health pool advantage you have over the enemy team in an unmirrored triple tank composition. If you do know when to walk, you will be able to take full advantage of it. Brawl's skill ceiling is a little lower than the other compositions, but that doesn't mean that you can't influence your games. The skill ceiling, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term, just means what a character is capable of at its maximum. Can it 6k consistently if you're good enough, or can it only get 3 no matter how good you are at the game? Regardless of your character's server admin status, this is how you can be just all around better than the enemy team. Brawl is this strange comp where you have to play proactively with ultimates, but reactively with cooldowns. We're actively searching for threats looking to jump our backline and also looking for key indicators that allow us to gain an advantage with our ults while moving together towards the objective. A way to offset the difference is to be very vocal to our backlines. As we know, a lot of strategist mains do not play tank, so though in Brawl they're the ones who decide when we're allowed to walk, it's important to let them know that you are ready to take the space. Always, always, always 3, 2, 1 the walk when you start it. Such a good way to gain momentum. If you identify a dive is about to take place early, help out. You can even let the team know. Then you won't have weird split plays that make the peel take longer. Example, one Black Panther kill is taking 2 seconds, and if you just helped out, it would take under a second, which frees the rest of your team or you to either stabilize or walk to gain space freely. Are we attacking tanks? Go ahead and exile a support. Is your cloak about to ult into a Magrock? Dino shield and jump into it. Are we playing front to back? Let's purple their only tank and fry him. Using cooldowns with intent is a key part of being better at Brawl. If you're using your cooldowns when you don't actually need them, when the time comes that you do actually need them, you'll enjoy a nice vacation to the spawn room. Intent is very important. Thinking of your health bar not as an HP value, but a time bank instead. Ask yourself, how hard can I push and how long can I stay in before I fall over? Knowing your limits on the character you play in Brawl is a massive advantage over others who play overly safe and get very little value. I don't want to say Brawl is all in, but to an extent, sometimes it's better that way. You have to know when to keep applying pressure, and to know when, you must know what the enemy team's reaction to that pressure is. Based on that reaction, you can continue to force a desired result. This isn't only specific to Brawl, but it definitely helps a lot. And now we're full circle to our top secret tip. Yes, we are back at it again. Straight out the folder. This is my secret sauce for you today. Though it is counterintuitive, a good brawler always knows when it's time to switch from front to back to front priority. This means switching over from bruising out the enemy front line to either dunking on their strategist or hard marking their DPS. If a pick hands itself to you magically, take it. We take what's free and brawl the advantage. As always, it's been my pleasure. From Professor Snipehardt to you. Until next time, soldiers. Man, is this thing still on? No? Alright, I'm hungry as hell. Let's go get some food.